Alright guys, Tactical here. Today we're going to talk about Call of Duty Blackout. Rostermania Rumors number 4 is coming up this week, hopefully on Tuesday, and then I'll try and do a video after the big esports reveal on Wednesday, September 19th. 5v5 is looking ever more likely, but today we're going to talk about Call of Duty Blackout because that was really the big news of this week. What potentially it has to be a competitive game, what it will mean for standard Call of Duty competitive, whether it will be good in the short term. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff, and let's go. So if you weren't aware, Blackout, Call of Duty's new Battle Royale for Black Ops 4, was available to play in beta this week on September 10th for the PS4, and as of yesterday, available on PC and Xbox as well. It's been doing incredibly well. These few days may have been some of the most important for the Call of Duty franchise ever, because Black Ops 4 Blackout has been topping the charts on Twitch. This image I've got on screen here, 520,000 views, it didn't even top out at this. It topped out over 600,000. And okay, you can say that, well, you know, Ninja was boosting it, the other streamers were boosting it, which, okay, is fair enough. And also, it was being boosted to some extent because if people watch for an hour, they got access to the private beta on PC. But maybe that's a lesson that Activision can learn for normal Call of Duty, saying that, wow, if we give people incentives to watch, the viewership blows up. So that's really what I want to talk about in this video. What kind of things Blackout can imply for competitive Call of Duty in general, and whether Blackout itself will have a competitive mode as things go forward. So, Blackout has the potential not only to be a great casual game mode, but also competitive as well. Fortnite and PUBG have done very well as esports. They're not strictly that competitive, but they've got a lot of money flooding in. And the difference between the casual players and what the competitive players play is very close indeed. So they seem to be getting a lot of love from more casual communities. Blackout has the potential to do that as well, and it has so much potential to improve. It's only been in development for maybe 3/4 of a year. Activision only realised that, wow, we need to make a Battle Royale when Fortnite started blowing up in January, February time early this year. It's only several months into development, considering how bad Fortnite was with graphics and how well it played at the start of release. Now, as far as potential for competitive goes, it does seem less random than some other Battle Royales. Because there's so much loot everywhere, you can drop somewhere and pretty much get a good setup ready to go off the rip. There's no gold guns. You have some guns that already have attachments on that are really good, and other ones you have to scavenge and find yourselves. But it's not as random as some games like Fortnite, where you come across a gold scar and you're like, okay, wow, I won. The main problem right now is armor, but it's so early in development, I think that could definitely be tweaked and changed for the real game. Blackout is likely going to have a huge casual fanbase as well. Zombies fans seem to love it because the zombies areas of the map. Old school players love the game. You've got your firing ranges, your nuke town, potential for older weapons to come back into play as well, and maybe limited time modes. Public players seem to love it. The competitive players are having a whale of a time, and Battle Royale players as well that have grown bored of maybe Fortnite and PUBG especially. And the older demographic is really crying out for a Battle Royale game that is playable right now. I think PUBG has fallen out of favour a lot recently. Blackout may just fill that gap. Fortnite's the only real Battle Royale that's playable on console right now, and Blackout may just fill that market for a different demographic. One thing that we would love to have in normal competitive is that casual and competitive play could be the same. Obviously, there's some stupid items that don't fit well into competitive play, but in Blackout it can actually work due to the item rarity system, which Vonderhard talks about right here. He says that you don't have to nerf and buff everything based purely on stats. You can use item drop rarity as a tool. So something like razor wire, the grapple hook, all that stuff, you can allow it to be in the game, but just very rare, which means that if a player takes it upon themselves to go to a crowded area and get a lot of kills, and pick up all the best loot, they can get the best equipment. There is obviously some randomness involved, but it's a much better system than what other games have. Also, a big thing about Blackout for competitive is the fact that it's probably going to play best as a squad game. That's the thing with Fortnite. Due to the immense abilities of some players to build, 1v1v1 is really the only way it works. Squad fights would just be incredibly chaotic and impossible to keep up with from a spectator perspective. But without the building in the game, squads become much better suited to competitive play, which I think is a great dynamic to not only encourage people to play with their friends in a competitive zone, but also from a fan perspective, having different teams and roster changes can really heighten the potential peak. Now, of course, there are some problems. Fortnite is free, the other games are relatively cheap. Blackout, you would have to pay $60 to get the entire game of Black Ops 4. So for some people just wanting to play Blackout, $60 is a high price tag. But if Blackout is good enough, it could bode really well for normal Call of Duty and normal competitive Call of Duty. People could be paying, okay, I'll put 60 quid to buy Blackout. It's such a great game. I really want to play it. And then they stumble across League play and competitive and they're like, wow, this is the way to go. Also, Vonderhaar said on stream, I think with Shroud, that cross-platform play is not going to happen likely, which personally I think is good. But let's think, if there is a competitive scene for Blackout, it's almost certainly going to be on the PC and not the PS4. The PC, you can have much better graphics, better control of your characters. Looting is very awkward on console. PC, you can see what they have, you can drag it into your menu. Battle Royale seems to work a lot better on PC than console for at least competitive play. So there may be some competitive tournaments on PS4, but I think if there is going to be a majority competitive scene, it will be on the PC. Now, of course, normal competitive as we know it isn't going to go anywhere, but really what this video is about is, can Blackout help the normal competitive scene grow, or will it overwhelm and overshadow? Now, there are some big questions about Blackout. Firstly, is there going to be a new Battle Royale next year? Is Activision going to decide, okay, this is our Battle Royale, this is what we're going to focus on? Or are Infinity Ward also going to make their own Battle Royale and it keeps cycling over? So if there's a competitive scene, does it change games every year? Infinity Ward are supposedly making Modern Warfare 4, which makes me think they've got to have a campaign in that. So I don't reckon Infinity Ward will make a Battle Royale. The key positive I think that Blackout could have for the normal competitive scene is, I think it will help show Activision what competitive Call of Duty needs to be more successful. So Blackout may well be the Battle Royale competitive mode. Even if it's not officially endorsed by Activision, the competitive scene, there'll probably be one on PC. And the game will probably be the same year on year, with few alterations from track, new guns, new areas of the map, maybe new perks, stuff like that. The game that the professionals play and the casuals play is very similar indeed. Squads are 4v4, not what 5v5 competitive could be. Another benefit. And maybe it will help Activision realise that, wow, okay, we got so many viewers during the beta because we had incentives to watch. The game is the same year on year with alterations to help keep the community intact across time and also make the game as best and as most competitive as it can possibly be. The casuals are interested in the competitive mode because we've given them incentives to be as such. Now, for this year, I don't think Activision are at all prepared for a potential Blackout competitive season. Epic Games dropped like, what, $150 million a few months down the line. They didn't expect Fortnite to do what it has done. I don't think Activision could have been so prepared for Blackout to do as well in beta as it appears to have done. The money and all that sort of stuff is already sorted for the normal competitive season announced on September 19th. Maybe Activision can cough up a few more million for a competitive scene for Blackout down the line. But for this year, I highly doubt that on September 19th they're going to announce like a Blackout season format or anything like that, because everything's so up in the air right now. Call of Duty is getting so much more exposure. People who buy the game for Blackout will likely stumble across multiplayer, they'll end up playing League play, they'll be watching streams and they'll see, wow, okay, Crim6 is streaming Black Ops 4, but it's not Blackout, what is this? Let me tune in. Because they like the guns, they fall in love with the weapons in the game, stuff like that, and then all things can transfer over to more traditional competitive play. Maybe if there's a Blackout event officially endorsed by Activision in a few months' time, they can advertise the proper competitive Call of Duty event, and you have the normal competitive CoD on your console, and then you have the PC Battle Royale version, two combined communities. Maybe Activision can learn a lot from the PC mode into what they need to do with the console to get the game to be as big as possible. I'm very optimistic. Call of Duty being at the top of the charts again, no matter what the game mode that's being played, should be great for the competitive scene. What you don't really want to happen, especially in the long term, is that Blackout significantly outperforms the normal competitive play. It's getting way more views, it's getting way better numbers, it's making Activision way more money, and then Activision start thinking, wow, do we even need the normal competitive scene? I mean, look, Battle Royale, I'm not saying it's not here to stay, it certainly is, but competitive shooter games and FPSs have always been at the top of esports. Counter-Strike has been there for absolutely years and years. Call of Duty will continue to be there. Battle Royale games will probably go up and their popularity will likely diminish over time. I'm sure Activision realizes that, and keeping the normal competitive Call of Duty at the heart of what Call of Duty is definitely should be their goal going forwards. If there's any worry, it's that Activision will decide, wow, Blackout is doing incredibly, let's just focus on that, and competitive Call of Duty, we can just, on console, we can just leave that in the dust a little bit. We'll focus on where the growth is right now. That's my only concern. It should bring many more players into being aware about not only Call of Duty, but competitive Call of Duty in general. And I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments below. So far it's been a good week for Call of Duty. We'll have to see what the esports reveal brings. 5v5 seems more and more likely by the day. So like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. Check out my case against 5v5 video on screen now if you are interested. Rostermania rumours coming soon. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.